Yehovah, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. In Yehoshua's name, we come before you, O Yehovah, even in these last days, as the children of Israel, Most High, giving testimony that you are righteous, that you are just, that you are merciful, O Most High. And we come here even as the descendants of even our ancestors who were slaughtered in this place, asking and begging for righteous judgment upon Babylon.
In 1863, man, we thought that we was free. Fighting the war, we know what it was to hit the street, so we spread the rumors. We told all our families, we gathered the old folks and the children and hit them leaves. We were walking and running, cause they said that we'll be free. Just go down in this hole, and if you make it, then you will be up north with the free folks. When you chill and you eat folks, I didn't know where it was, but somehow I did say some east. But after war with these heathens, we know where it could have been. We know if we made it up out this hole where it should have been. So we took to the streets. You know the rumors spread it real fast. We told all the Hebrews, you know we made them happy. From mama to grandmama, everybody in this hole, at least the amount that we can get to go, and that's 20,000. Man, this shit out of control. It's been 6 months. How the hell we get this devil's punch? Oh.
At night, O Most High, and hold themselves not guilty. They hold themselves innocent, even as they shed the blood of our sons, of our daughters, of our elders, Father, of the young and of the old, of the weak and of the strong, O Most High. They have shown no pity. They have shown no mercy.
When the slaves were released from the plantations in the occupation, they overran Natchez, and the population went from about...
Democracy said we free, but Natchez didn't feel the same. They slaughtered and murdered us. We wish we were still enslaved. They rather be picking cotton than rotting their life away. Infested with smallpox, corruption would never stop. While working around the clock, they buried you where you dropped. You planted us like we crops and hope that we never sprout. But Yah has a final plan, deliver us from this land. He never intended for us to be destroyed by the hands of man. Kidnapped our souls, the devil punch bowl, still in existence under FEMA's control. Rex 84, the king got for playing. These crackers are plotting, I hope y'all Hebrews are praying. Begging for mercy, screaming for grace, preparing your soul for what you destined to face. 13 elites, the mark of the beast. I'm spiritually grounded, giving our praises to thee, Most High.
Even the blood of the saints who were slaughtered, even by the whore of Babylon as she becomes drunk off of the blood of our people. Oh Yehovah, have mercy on us. Even gather the remnant of Judah and of Israel together in spirit and in truth. Remove even the divisions, oh Most High God, that keep us from coming together. And let us come together in love and forgiveness and unity, Most High, and in faithfulness and in obedience, in submission, in spirit and in truth. We just pray on behalf of our people, Yisrael, oh Most High, that you would cause us to stand in these last days. Give us strength, oh Yehovah. Pour the Ruach HaKodesh upon us, oh Yah. Pour out the latter rain, oh Most High. Show mercy unto us. Deliver us, oh Yehovah. Open the gates of heaven unto our prayer. Yehoshua, receive our prayer. Oh yeah, receive our prayer. Heavenly Father, let our prayer be as of sweet incense before the altar of thy throne, oh yeah. Remember us. Remember the covenant that you made with our forefathers. We repent. Forgive us, oh Yah. We have transgressed. We have dealt iniquitously. Our men and our women and our sons and our daughters, we are all guilty. But we repent with the whole heart. Forgive us, Yehovah. Deliver us, Yehovah. Pardon our transgressions, Salak Banu. Forgive us, oh Yah. Deliver us from this bondage, oh Yah. From this evil, from this pain, from this oppression, from all this terror, day and night, oh Yehovah. Hear us, oh Yah. Deliver us, oh Heavenly Father. Yehoshua, forgive us, for we have slaughtered you and we turned you over to the enemy. we hope that we serve you in spirit and in truth, and that our sacrifices and our bondage and our oppression is compensation for yours. Oh yeah, we know that you have waited for us longer than we have waited for you. So have mercy on us, O Most High God. Cause the house of Judah to stand. Cause the house of Israel to stand, O Most High God. And as we stand, bring down the adversary. For Jacob means the supplanter, O Yehoshua. So to supplant and grab the heel of Esau, we must be on the ground, and we are on the ground. Now, help us stand up, and as we stand up, let us take the heel of this oppressor and slam him into the ground, Most High God, and let him go into the pit. Let him go into the devil's punch bowl. Let him go there, Most High God. Bring righteous judgment on Yehoshua. In Yehoshua's name, we come before you, O Yehovah, even in these last days, as the children of Israel, Most High, giving testimony that you are righteous, that you are just, that you are merciful, O Most High. And we come here even as the descendants of even our ancestors who were slaughtered in this place, asking and begging for righteous judgment upon Babylon.
In 1863, man, we thought that we was free, fighting the war. We know what it was to hit the street, so we spread the rumors. We told all our families, we gathered the old folks and the children and hit them leaves. We were walking and running, cause they said that we'll be free. Just go down in this hole, and if you make it, then you will be up north with the free folks. When you chill and you eat, folks. I didn't know where it was, but somehow I did say some easy. Go out to war with these heathens. We know where it could have been. We know if we made it about this hole where it should have been. So we took to the streets. You know the rumor spread it real fast. We told all the Hebrews, you know we made them happy. From mama to grandmama, everybody in this hole, at least the amount that we can get to go, and that's 20,000. Man, this shit out of control. It's been 6 months. How the hell we get this devil's punch? Oh.
Get nice, O Most High, and hold themselves not guilty. They hold themselves innocent, even as they shed the blood of our sons, of our daughters, of our elders, Father, of the young and of the old, of the weak and of the strong, O Most High. They have shown no pity. They have shown no mercy.
The slaves were released from the plantations into occupation. They overran matches, and the population went from about...
Democracy set you free, the natchez can feel the same.
We just pray on behalf of our people, Yisrael, O Most High, that you would cause us to stand in these last days. Give us strength, O Yehovah. Pour the Ruach HaKodesh upon us, O Yah. Pour out the latter rain, O Most High. Show mercy unto us. Deliver us, O Yehovah. Open the gates of heaven unto our prayer. Yehovah, receive our prayer. O Yah, receive our prayer.
Shalom to all the family. It's good to see y'all. It's good to be here on this Monday morning or Monday afternoon, really. You know, tell me if this sounds familiar to you. You are, let's say you're a sports fan, and it's NBA draft day or even NFL draft day. And the number one pick, the top pick, he's getting ready to be drafted for your favorite team. And then as they're getting ready to call this, athlete for him to announce what team he's going to go with, they always start with a story of his upbringing. Man, he came from a rags to riches background. He came from a story that, proves that with enough hard work and enough dedication, anybody can make the NBA. With enough hard work and dedication, anybody can make the NFL. I'm going to play a clip real quick to show you an example of what I'm talking about. How many of y'all know about Giannis Antetokounmpo? I think he is a Nigerian basketball player who plays for the Bucks. I think I forget who the Bucks with city they play for, but I'm going to play this.
Before Giannis was the NBA champion and MVP and smacking teammates in the back of the head, he was just a kid in Athens, Greece, hustling to survive. Giannis was the middle child of 5 brothers. His parents had left Nigeria searching for work in Greece. Money was tight, and he and his brothers would sell sunglasses, watches on the streets, anything to help the family. Basketball wasn't just a dream, it was an escape. From those tough beginnings in Athens to the NBA spotlight, Giannis turned struggle into strength. And that's why today, he's not just the Greek freak. He's proof that greatness can come from anywhere. So did you know this about Giannis? Before he became a star? Comment Greek freak if you did.
Let's examine this really quickly, family. Oops. You know, in order for this system of white supremacy to exist, remember, we have to dwell at the bottom. We are the ones at the bottom of this pyramid of white supremacy. In this system of white supremacy, we have several tiers where FBAs are always at the bottom. And then we have above them, the FBAs are upholding the immigrant class and the tether class. They're the buffer class. So we uphold this whole system upon which sits the enforcement class, which we have here, which is the media, the clergy, the judges, and of course, the officers. This is the enforcement class of white supremacy. Now, the enforcement class always enforces law and rule to the people who are beneath them. And that's us. The enforcement class here never targets, and I mean never. They never. This is the enforcement class. Let me write enforcement right here. The enforcement class never targets the people above them. So that's the politicians. That's the major corporations. And then we got the bankers. The enforcement class specifically and fervently targets us at the bottom, FBAs. And then after that, they may go after some immigrant groups. But rest assured, everyone above the enforcement class is safe. And that includes the small hats. When's the last time you seen any small hats getting arrested for crimes? When is the last time you seen small hats and rabbis do the perp walk? When's the last time you turned on the news and CNN and MSNBC and Fox News and they're showing you small hats? That's those with this on their yarmulke. When's the last time that you've seen any of them getting arrested for RICO, for money laundering, for any of these things? It doesn't happen, right? So they needed an enforcement class. And another arm of the enforcement class is Black celebrity. And this is no shot at any particular celebrity, because many of them probably don't realize how the system of white supremacy uses them. Okay, this system uses Black celebrity against us And we're going to talk about how that's done. So in order for us to willingly and voluntarily, as FBAs or the tribe of Judah or those true Israel here, for us to willingly and voluntarily uphold this system of white supremacy, we have to be invested in it. We have to believe that there is hope or a chance that maybe, just possibly, some of us from down here, if we're down here, we're helping to hold this thing up with everyone here, we have to believe in the illusion that if we work just hard enough, we can make it up here to celebrity status or another arm of enforcement. Celebrity status is part of media. So we have this enforcement class here, and we have media. This is representing media and surveillance. But black celebrity is related to media. Shalom to everybody in the chat. I want to say shalom. It's good to see everybody. The illusion of, yes, Inkwell, that's right. The illusion of inclusion. So if you notice, every time a talented athlete or entertainer makes it, they always looking for somebody with this type of backstory. I'm going to play it one more time. This here is Giannis Antetokounmpo. I always get this. I always chop up his last name. But let's play this again and let's examine it.
Champion, an MVP, and smack. Before Giannis was an NBA champion, an MVP, and smacking teammates in the back of the head, he was just a kid in Athens, Greece, hustling to survive. Giannis was the middle child of 5 brothers. His parents.
It looked like it froze. Let me play that one more time from the beginning. Where is it at? Here we go.
Before Giannis was an NBA champion, an MVP, and smacking teammates in the back of the head, he was just a kid in Athens, Greece, hustling to survive. Giannis was the middle child of 5 brothers. His parents had left Nigeria searching for work in Greece. Money was tight, and he and his brothers would sell sunglasses, watches on the streets.
See, money was tight. So Giannis and his family had to sell watches and bootleg items and purses and stuff like that on the streets. So this is the narrative that they always want to push when it comes to our athletes and our entertainers. It always has to be a rags to riches story. The reason why is because by showing a rags to riches story, it keeps us emotionally invested in our collective exploitation. What better way to keep us engaged and supportive of this system other than to get us emotionally attached to it? So celebrities, the job of celebrities is to get us emotionally attached to something that harms us as a group. So every time the group is getting ready to stand in solidarity or united as a collective, the white supremacist system will send certain of their celebrities to discourage us from group economics and group advancement. And then if we're emotionally attached to that celebrity, we'll actually start to listen to what the celebrity says that benefits the celebrity as an individual more so than we need to do what benefits us as a group, as a tribe, as a nation, as a collective. So the rags to riches narrative is meant to get us locked in to this system with the hope and aspiration that if we just work hard enough, then maybe our turn will come around too.
To help the family. And he and his would sell sunglasses, watches on the streets, anything to help the family. Basketball wasn't just a dream, it was an escape. From those tough beginnings in Athens to the NBA spotlight, Giannis turned struggle into strength. And that's why today, he's not just a Greek freak, he's proof that greatness can come from anywhere.
He's proof that greatness can come from anywhere. And again, we have a lot, and this is not to take away from Giannis because he's a talented basketball player, but we have multitudes of talented basketball players right here on US soil. It was FBAs that made the league of the NBA what it is today, just as well as the NFL. So now the narrative is to look overseas and try to find as many FBA looking basketball players to come and fill up the rosters of the NBA because they know that FBA have a certain fight in us. We have a certain spirit. We have a certain spirit of 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 a lion to stand up for against injustice, to fight for equality, to be fair, to be moral. We have that in our DNA. And so when white supremacy works against us or against other melanated groups of people, we're usually the voice of resistance to that. So to counteract that, and this is, what a lot of us refer to as the tether class, and it's not all melanated immigrants, but the large majority of them have this in them where they want to be the face of Black America and get the benefits of Black America without standing up for the causes of Black Americans or foundational Black Americans. The immigrant narrative will always be placed above us because, again, they want us at the bottom of this pyramid of white supremacy. So now they're looking overseas and they're trying to find other athletes that look like us, but who are much more compliant and will never fight against white supremacy.
To the NBA spotlight, Giannis turned struggle into strength. And that's why today, he's not just a Greek freak, he's proof that greatness can come from anywhere. So, did you know this about Giannis before he became a star? Comment Greek freak if you did.
All right. How many of you in the chat know about Shador Sanders? Put a 7 in the chat if you know about Shador Sanders. Deion Sanders, one of his sons, who's a quarterback for Cleveland. Put a 7 in the chat if you know about Shador Sanders. Now, Shador Sanders is the son of the Hall of Fame athlete, Deion Sanders, who was like just one of the greatest all-around athletes in American history. Now, Deion Sanders, let me pull up a picture of them. Let's see. We have Deion Sanders. This is Deion and his son Shador.
I'm telling you, that guy. I know.
Here we have a Hall of Fame athlete, Deion Sanders, here with his son, Shador Sanders. Now, y'all all remember how excellent, how good Shador Sanders is at quarterbacking. And he was mentored directly by his own Hall of Fame legendary father. I see all the 7s in the chat. That's right. Everybody should be familiar with these people, right? All right. So let's break down how the media uses this against us. Now, Shador Sanders, because he is a child of his father, who was a Hall of Famer, he doesn't have a rags to riches narrative. His narrative is that he comes from a household with 2 parents, with both father and mother. Now, the narrative that they want to promote for us is that we come all from a dysfunctional background. And so to really try to illustrate that, they try to just overemphasize when someone comes from a single parent or single mother household. So they really try to emphasize this narrative so that they could maintain division between Black men and Black women. And so they don't want to promote an athlete that comes from a background with a strong father and a strong mother figure. So when Shador was coming into the league, he had to face all of this resistance. And it's because the NFL and white supremacy don't want us to have celebrities or people of status that can inspire us to fix our families and do greater things for our community.
Crazy. Shadur Sanders came into the 2025 NFL draft with superstar energy, flashy chains, shades on, big swagger. But as pick after pick passed Shadur by, you could see the confusion and hurt set in. Behind the scenes, the word is, there was already a quiet blackball at play. NFL owners weren't feeling Shadur's image. Too flashy, too confident, too much like a rap star. They want humble quarterbacks, not entertainers. Then Donald Trump even chimed in, blasting the NFL for passing on Shadur, calling them stupid, and saying his genetics from day on made him special. Now the real question, was this just humbling? Or was this a warning shot to the next generation of athletes who dare to carry themselves like kings before they even step on an NFL field? Let us know in the comments what you think happened.
Well said on that one. So as we look at this, when you carry yourself as a king and when you carry yourself as a queen, because we are the royal seed, the royal house of Judah, the royal house of Israel, when we carry ourselves that way, this system resists that. And they do not want to promote it in any way at all. So Shador Sanders didn't even get picked in the first round. I think they picked him in the 5th round to try to intentionally sabotage and humble this brilliant young man. And he's brilliant because his father really instilled a lot into him, and he had the influence of his mother. So this is the narrative that they want us to fit into instead of what we see with the Sanders household.
Before Giannis was an NBA champion, an MVP, and smacking teammates in the back of the head, he was just a kid in Athens, Greece, hustling to survive. Giannis was the middle.
You're right. 8149. They don't want us to have parents as our role models. They don't want us to have people in the grassroots as our role models. The ones who stand up sincerely for our people, they don't want them to be our role models. They want those who will not resist this system to be our role models. So Giannis Antetokounmpo is a Nigerian who I think fled to Greece. So he's not going to rock the boat when he comes here to America. All he's going to do is play basketball and smile when they tell him to smile. He won't resist the system of white supremacy because they're going to use him and his image as the face to justify white supremacy. And this is how it's done. Let's show you. We have to walk away from this system. We're the foundation. But when we delineate, that means just separate. We don't have to become violent. We don't have to become socially toxic. We just have to delineate. We just have to separate. And it collapses upon its own self. So let me use a different color here. White supremacy is threatened by group consciousness. Okay. Lineage based claims. This is why when we say oh man, it's not writing there, huh? Give me a second, family. Okay, here we go. White supremacy is threatened by group consciousness, 1. 2, lineage based claims. This is why when we say FBA, which really means Judah, it's so effective. Because let me tell you about this. Let's put marching. Okay, and protests. Okay. White supremacy can absorb non-lineage based protests. What do I mean by that? When we say, let's say, for example, Black Lives Matter. At first, it started out as a moral claim. We saw what they did to our brother George Floyd and how he was murdered and choked out in the street by the police officer. Okay. When our claims are not based specifically on lineage, they are able to usurp it, absorb it, and turn it back to us and then sell it to us, thereby diluting and watering down what we're fighting for. So if our claims, let me write that, if our claims are not spiritually grounded, then white supremacy and capitalism overtake it. So they will put people into position, certain carefully picked leaders of Black Lives Matter or other groups that they control or that they finance, and then they'll use those leaders to re-steer or redirect the narrative in a way that benefits the system more than it benefits our people. Okay? They're going to take figureheads. They're going to take celebrities that they invent. These people will be invented by these people. You'll see them on the news, on Fox News, all of a sudden, somebody you never seen in our community, and they'll say, hello, this is Tanya Blackman. And she is a civil rights leader. She's a Black leader. Yet we've never seen her in the community. This is Daquan Robertson, and he is a black leader, and he's here to talk to us today about why we don't need reparations. So they will give these people positions, and they will give them titles, and they will put that title on, just like you see at the bottom of the screen, you see it sliding by. They'll put the same thing for these fake black leaders or fake celebrities, and it'll put the title of black leader behind them, and it'll scroll across your screen with their name. And then when you see them, they're telling you the leaders that they certify, that they appoint. These are the leaders that they want us to have, not the leaders that we tell them we have. Okay? So this is how they overtake us. So as long as we worship celebrities, and this is again not about any one celebrity in particular, but if we constantly fall into the narrative of that, oh, this person made it and they made it from a rags to riches narrative, that's always going to trump our needs collectively. So we have to get to a point now where we put our collective needs above the individual celebrity. And delineation helps us to do that. Delineation helps us to move back into our birthright as Hebrews. The Most High has given us a divine birthright. And the scripture says that we read, let me go to it really quickly. In Deuteronomy, I think we were reading 15. When you have a Hebrew slave, which America had us in slavery for 400 years. Let's see. All right, Deuteronomy 15 and 12. And if thy brother, a Hebrew man or a Hebrew woman, be sold unto thee and serve thee 6 years, then in the 7th year thou shalt let him go free from thee. This place has kept us here for 400 plus years, okay, and still has yet to make us free. And when thou sendest him out free from thee, thou shalt not let him go away empty. So when they emancipated us here in America, they set us out with nothing. See, so spiritually, by divine law, we have a right to what's owed us, right? But as long as we have celebrities who have sold their soul or are in agreement with this system, they will never speak up for us collectively. So in 2026, we're in 2026 now. In 2026, our people have to get to the place where if the celebrities are not with the grassroots, and if they're not actively denouncing white supremacy and using their resources to help denounce it, they can't speak for us. They cannot be the voice for us either. Because that's a different type of tether, if you will. That's a different type of Judas or someone who's meant to undermine the advancements of our people as a whole. Yep, they don't even follow scripture. That's right. That's right. So we have to understand that if they're not speaking up for us spiritually, based on the moral claims that we represent, then they don't represent us. So it doesn't mean if it's your favorite rapper. It doesn't mean if it's your favorite singer, your favorite athlete, your favorite person in politics that might be black, FBA or not. If they're not standing up for what we're saying as a collective, then they stand with the system against us. And they're of the mentality that they made it. And they're going to do everything in their power to protect what they have accumulated, despite how it impacts the rest of us. This is why we have to be wise in this new secular year of 2026. Everybody has their favorite athlete. Everyone has their favorite movie and their favorite actor, their favorite actress, and all of these things. And that's fine. But we have to get to the place where we know and understand that these people can never speak up on our behalf, because these people are hand chosen by the system as to who gets in their foot in the door and who doesn't. Somebody from the grassroots who really speaks up on our behalf is not going to get through many of those Hollywood doors. You know, they're not going to get through many of these doors in entertainment and media and so forth, unless it's independently done by their own selves with the resources that they have accumulated, or through the resources that they've accumulated from the grassroots, from the people. Someone like that can be trusted. But if there's someone like a Jay-Z, if it's someone like a Beyonce, if it's someone like any of these people out here, LeBron James, and his fake advocacy for Black Lives Matter, but he's not here with us on the grassroots, and their agenda is more so LGBT than FBA. All right. So they're never going to speak up on our behalf. They're going to speak up on behalf of the rainbow. They're going to speak up on behalf of everything that doesn't benefit us as a group. They're going to speak up on behalf of things that benefit a few certain individuals. All right. This is important for us. Individual success stories are meant and promoted to keep us invested, But if we want to really change the way things go, we can't dream our way out of it. We have to be able to do the work. We have to be able to collectively work together. And we have to be able to use our influence that God has given us. We got the greatest influence in the world, on the earth. We have to use this in a way that elevates the spiritual and moral claims of our people. And then the rest of the world who are melanated will actually start to fall in line, believe it or not. Right now, they're following behind the white man and Esau and his system because that's what dominates. But when we actually delineate and pull away from it, and we get this big weight off of our shoulders and it collapses, then the right system of the Most High, the right spiritual system based on divine law, is established, and we're at the top of that pyramid. Okay. And then we get to govern the world because he made us a nation of kings and priests. We are the divine and royal seed that the Most High has set up for leadership in this world. So if we're not able to discern the role of celebrity status, and we're talking about the celebrity that this system sets up in place over us, if we can't discern that they're part of the enforcement class, then we will always be undermined from the beginning. Let me show you an example. We talked about this guy over the weekend on the Sabbath, on the Shabbat. This here is a Nigerian American. Well, I don't even know if he's a Nigerian American. I know he's Nigerian. I don't know if he's in the UK or what, but his name was Big Gorilla. And this particular video has 5.2 million views. So this is the type of image that they want to promote as black media. That guy he's perfectly fine with bondage and captivity as long as he has a plate of food in front of him. He's willing to dance and buffoon and coon and look like every black stereotype that has ever been created by America. He's willing to fit that as long as he gets a plate of food for it. So things like this get millions and millions of views. But anything that talks about what's collectively good for FBAs, they're going to make sure that those views are limited. They're going to make sure that they're never promoted on your For You page. This will be promoted instead. They'll promote that. And this is what we promote. This is what we promote. Our heritage, things of substance that our people created. Let me show you this.
Did you know the entire foundation of AIDS treatment was built on stolen research from a black scientist who died under suspicious circumstances? In 1983, Dr. Inez Beverly Prosser was a brilliant immunologist at the Centers for Disease Control. When AIDS emerged as a deadly mystery, she was already studying T-cell functionality. While others struggled to understand the disease, Prosser discovered HIV specifically targeted CD4 T-cells. She developed the first viable treatment protocols that would save millions of lives. But her white colleagues began excluding her from meetings and stealing her research. They published her groundbreaking findings under their own names in major medical journals. Pharmaceutical companies used her exact methods to develop AZT and other medications worth billions. Meanwhile, Prosser was demoted, and her original research files mysteriously vanished from CDC archives. In 1987, just months before the first FDA-approved AIDS treatments, she died in a suspicious car accident. Her family later found hidden research notes proving she created modern AIDS treatment. White researchers received Nobel Prize nominations while her contributions were erased from history. Did you know the entire...
Isn't that wild, y'all? This sister here laid the foundation for research for HIV/AIDS, which killed millions and millions of people. And they raised billions of dollars for AIDS research, still to this day. And this sister developed the whole foundation of their treatments. They stole her research, gained Nobel Peace Prizes off of her research, not to mention made a multi-billion-dollar industry annually off of the medications and treatments that they give. She dies mysteriously and her family is never compensated. But we don't know her name. But we see people like Big Gorilla cooning for a plate of food with millions of views. And things like this, our important history, gets swept under the rug. Her name was Dr. Prosser. I want y'all to remember her. Also,
did you know? There was once a black man with an idea so simple that every investor he met laughed in his face, until the day he walked in and bought their entire company. His name was Jordan Miles, a young electrician from Chicago who spent his days fixing broken lights and his nights sketching designs in a faded notebook. Jordan had one dream, a smart portable power box that could charge tools, phones, laptops, anything, without needing a wall outlet. A mini generator the size of a lunchbox. When he pitched it, every CEO told him the same thing. It'll never work. You don't have the background. Stick to your day job. One executive even chuckled and said, "Kid, ideas are cheap. Try reality." So Jordan built reality. He sold his car, slept in his workshop, and used scrap wires and old batteries to create his first prototype. It wasn't pretty, but it worked. And when a construction crew tried it, they bought 10 on the spot. Word spread fast. Electricians loved it. Campers loved it. Disaster relief teams loved it. Jordan's tiny workshop turned into a warehouse. Orders piled up faster than he could build them. Within 2 years, his invention was being sold nationwide. But he never forgot the company that laughed at him. The same company that once rejected his idea and later tried to copy it. Jordan didn't sue, he didn't complain. He waited. And when that company hit financial trouble, Jordan walked into their boardroom in the same building where they dismissed him years earlier. Only this time, the receptionist didn't ignore him. The executives didn't smirk. Because Jordan wasn't there to pitch an idea. He was there to buy the entire company. When the papers were signed, Jordan looked at the CEO who once mocked him and said, "Ideas aren't cheap. Vision is." Today, Jordan Miles owns multiple patents and runs one of the fastest growing tech energy companies in America. And the people who once laughed at his dream, they now work for the man who refused to give up. Did you?
Jordan Miles.
To create his first prototype. Campers loved it. Disaster.
Jordan Miles is a FBA black man who invented and created portable generators. Could you believe that? Look how much history we have for creating things that benefit the whole world. So anytime there's a hurricane or a storm and people need to power, their houses, or people need to power for rescuing, they rely on portable generators. When people go out camping, or if of power goes out, electricity, gas goes out, you can use a portable generator. That same technology, I'm sure, is used in vehicles, that you can charge up certain things without it affecting your battery. All of this was invented by this man. But you're right, Brother Don, but they say we have no culture. Exactly. So all of this, they refuse to publicize. The media refuses to have that man. Why hasn't that man been on a news segment to talk about his contribution and his invention? Why don't they highlight these stories? The only stories of ours that the media wants to highlight is some rags to riches story about how somebody made it into the NBA. And that's no knock to our brothers and sisters who play sports and those in entertainment. But we have things that literally change the world, and these things are not recognized. I'll show you another story for you to see. This is for our men and our women.
Did you know every public water fountain today exists because of a blacksmith whose name history forgot? In 1889, Baltimore, Albert White worked his forge while thousands died around him from cholera and typhoid. The problem was public drinking. Shared cups at wells spread deadly diseases like wildfire through crowded cities. White watched neighbors fall sick from contaminated water sources that entire communities used. So he invented something revolutionary, a pressurized water fountain that shot clean water in a perfect arc. No shared cups, no contaminated wells, just pure individual access to safe drinking water. His foot pedal design meant no hands touch the spout. His filtration system removed deadly bacteria. For the first time in history, cities could offer truly safe public hydration. His fountains spread nationwide, saving thousands of lives every single day. But in 1891, White himself died from a waterborne illness. The tragic irony cuts deep. While his invention saved countless others, he couldn't save himself. Today, every fountain uses his pressurized arc design. His genius flows through every school and park worldwide.
Water fountains, without which millions of people would still be dying around the world from waterborne illnesses. So a brother here, FBA, invented water fountain systems and pressurized water pipes to deliver clean, drinkable water that saved lives all around the world. Yet this is not mentioned in our school textbooks. This is not mentioned in the media. This is not mentioned at all, but they want to throw, they want to tell us who we should honor within Black history, and it's always going to be Martin Luther King, because they can spin that narrative to use portions of his speeches to get us to hope in this system that will never benefit us. Martin Luther King's speeches have been remixed and they have been used to make us docile and to think that we could actually benefit from a part of this system that has been established from its beginning to exclude us. So this is what they have done historically against us to undermine us. Let me show you another sister.
Did you know the foundation of all radio broadcasting came from a black inventor trying to stop train crashes? In 1887, Granville Woods developed the railway telegraph system that would change communication forever. Hundreds were dying in train collisions because moving locomotives couldn't talk to stations. Woods solved this with electromagnetic wave technology, allowing trains to send messages wirelessly while speeding down tracks. His system used electromagnetic induction to transmit voices across vast distances without any wires. Major companies immediately bought his wireless communication patents and adapted them for something bigger. This same technology became the backbone of early radio broadcasting. Woods had cracked the code for long-distance voice transmission across the entire American continent. His railway communication system provided the tech foundation for AM radio and ship-to-shore communication. Every wireless signal today traces back to his electromagnetic principles. The man who started out preventing train accidents accidentally became the hidden architect of the entire broadcast age. One problem, one solution, one revolution. Did you know
Look at that. Foundational Black Americans from the tribe of Judah here in America invented the radio. And it was done to save lives, because on the railway systems of old, they used to always get into train accidents and derailments and crashes that caused hundreds of lives or maybe thousands of lives and substantial economic damage. So this man was inspired clearly by the Most High to create radio wave frequencies that allow people to talk, that's now used all around the world. Every time someone wants to listen to the radio or listen to music, this technology is being used. Even the governments and the military of America and around the world use this technology when they're on the field and they need radio transmissions, walkie-talkies, all of this kind of stuff. 911, when the police are out there trying to murder the same people who invented this technology, they always get on their radios, on their walkie-talkies to communicate with one another. So they're using the technology that we created to murder the people that built it. And then they profit off of this stuff. Now, the black celebrity that's handpicked by this system is always going to be used to tell us it's not that bad, because they made it too. And so someone like this inventor, this should be the black celebrity. This should be the black millionaire, multi-millionaire. These are the people that we should honor. We shouldn't idolize any man. We should only idolize the Most High. But if we want to give honor and recognition to people for things that they have done to benefit our people and benefit even humanity as a whole, why aren't they recognized? Why is their history buried? While Donald Trump literally tries to destroy whatever remains and whatever is left of Black history museums. We literally, Shannon Hobson, that's right. We literally dragged the world into the modern age. That's right. In the inkwell, everything they build destroys. That's right. Everything they build is weapons, but what we build creates life.
Did you know the entire video game industry exists because of a black engineer who solved an impossible problem in 1976? Gerald Lawson was working at Fairchild Semiconductor when the gaming world was collapsing. Every console could only play one game. Companies were going bankrupt trying to sell expensive single-purpose machines. Industry experts said programmable games were technically impossible, but Lawson had a revolutionary idea: removable cartridges. His Channel F console became the first system to use interchangeable ROM cartridges. Suddenly, one machine could play dozens of different games. This breakthrough saved the entire industry and enabled the Atari 2600, Nintendo, and every console that followed. As one of the only black engineers in Silicon Valley during the 70s, Lawson held the foundational patents for cartridge-based gaming. His innovation created the multi-billion-dollar video game industry and gaming culture we know today. Gerald Lawson is the forgotten father of modern gaming.
Modern gaming makes more than the entire movie industry. Video games and gaming platforms have surpassed all of Hollywood, and video games it is the highest form of entertainment, period. So the new release of Grand Theft Auto is going to make far more than the greatest blockbuster movie film. And films don't even have blockbuster openings like they used to anymore. But video games far surpass that. That was all made possible by FBA. This brother here is the inventor of that, but he's not recognized for these.
Did you know the entire...
Instead, Bill Gates is recognized, Elon Musk is recognized, Steve Jobs is recognized, but they're not the engine behind it. Love My Cooking said they also hate that we have minds of brilliance. That's right. That's absolutely right. And I want to say thank you to Brother Michael for the Cash App support. We really appreciate that. And Don P said, I purchased that system as a teenager with my money from my job, but we're lazy. Right? The Atari 2600, that was the first video game platform back in the 80s. And every subsequent platform after that is due to the inventions of FBA. The Inkwell, Shalom, they said that's why they've kept our people out of tech industry. We always looking to go to the next level. And that's why China is beating the United States of America, because they have kept us systematically out of the tech industry, and they have replaced us instead mostly with Hindus. The Hindus are just going to do the bare minimum to keep things maintained, but they can't create. Hindus do not create. Black people create. Black people invent. The Asians invent a little bit, but they mostly copy what black people do, right? The Asians imitate what we create. The white people steal what we create. The Hindus just maintain whatever has been created, right? So America is falling behind in the technology industry around the world because they have kept us out of it. They've locked us out because they were the ones making the money for it. We created the technology. They profited off of it. So now that everyone else is beginning to beat the United States in technology and in business, now that's why Donald Trump and them are going to war against other melanated countries to steal their resources in broad daylight. That's why this is happening with Venezuela right now, because America can no longer compete on the open market. They have suppressed Black creativity. They have kept Black creativity out of these industries, and therefore they've suffered. And so Apple, the biggest tech company, right? It can't innovate anymore. They have nothing but Hindus there and whites and some Asians, but the Asians are not going to do very much to innovate there because they're more loyal to their homelands. The Hindu Indians, they can't create. They're not a creative people. They're just going to maintain whatever has been created, and they're going to try to bring in more Hindu Indians so that they can fill up this country like they did with Uganda and hopefully take over by numbers. So the white man is out of options. So because they have imported all of these immigrants to overtake our contribution and overtake our lineage-based claims and our lineage-based resources, now this racism is really costing America. So now the only option they have left is to use violence. And that's why they're literally going after melanated countries that are close to them to steal their resources, because America is backed by the petrodollar. And now most nations don't want to do business with America anymore. So they're not using the petrodollar. And Saudi Arabia used to allow American dollars. Well, they still do. They used to exclusively only use American dollars in the buying and selling of oil. But now Saudi Arabia is starting to accept other forms of world currency for oil. And that's never happened before since America became a petrodollar in the 70s. It's been strictly backed by the US dollar. Now Saudi Arabia is allowing other currency to be used to purchase oil, and then that weakens the US dollar. So since they can't do anything to stop it because there's so many BRICS nations unified in this, China, Russia, Brazil, and Iran and others, their only option now is to steal the oil from Venezuela. Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world, but their oil is harder to refine than the oil that's in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabian oil is easier to refine. Venezuelan oil is harder and more expensive to refine, but they have more oil in Venezuela than they do in Saudi Arabia. So America uses violence and creates a false pretense to topple and overthrow their government so that they can steal their resources. And this is all because they don't have any ingenuity left. Black ingenuity has been suppressed here because of their fear of our excellence. So now it's costing the U.S., and the U.S. is declining on the world stage. I love the comments here. I got some great comments here, family. So let me
Entire video game industry exists.
Let me show you one or two others. It's amazing when you know our history and what we've contributed here.
Did you know the Gullah Geechee people were never brought from Africa? Did you know that slave catchers once fled in terror after encountering something they never expected to see? In 1835, a group of bounty hunters tracked escaped enslaved people deep into the Florida Everglades. They expected to find defenseless runaways hiding in the swamps. Instead, they came face to face with armed Black warriors fighting alongside Seminole Indians. These weren't just refugees. They were trained fighters defending their new homeland. The alliance was so powerful that the U.S. government launched not one, but 3 separate wars to destroy it. Thousands of federal troops were sent into the swamps, but the Black Seminole Alliance knew every trail and hideout. They fought back with deadly precision, turning the Everglades into an unconquerable fortress. The partnership terrified plantation owners because it proved something dangerous. That Black and Indigenous people could unite, fight back, and win. After decades of warfare costing millions of dollars, the government finally gave up. The Seminoles became the only Native American nation never conquered by the United States. Their alliance changed everything. Did you know that slave catchers...
Do you know about this history? Put a 1 in the chat if you know about the history known as the Seminole Wars. The Seminole Wars, like the Seminole Indians. If you know about this history, put a 1 in the chat. If you don't know, put a 2 in the chat. And if you don't know, we're going to explain this hidden history called the Seminole Wars that took place here in Florida. So based on what y'all say in the chat, I'll know in what direction to go in the rest of this discussion here. But this is an outstanding history that we need to know more about if we don't already know. The Seminole Wars. Put a 1 if you don't know. Put a 1 if you know and a 2 if you don't know. Oh, Mr. Soulful, you work in tech? Yeah, some of the Uzirs in the ministry work in tech, and they show, and they've been telling us how it's basically like a Hindu mafia, and they make sure that only Hindus get into those positions, and they actively lock out qualified and certified brothers that can work in tech. Seminoles. Let's see. We see some ones there. Okay. And I see some twos. I see a bunch of ones and twos here. We got some ones, somewhat brother dark. Okay. And we got a lot of twos as well. Okay. The longest U.S. war in history. Okay, let's talk about the Seminole Wars. All right. This is one of the reasons why I moved to Florida. And that's another story. This is the reason for the Civil War. This is the real, true reason for the Civil War. It has to do with the Seminole Wars. Okay. The Seminole Wars is about free slaves who didn't flee up north. You had freedmen in the United States of America. The common narrative is that all of the freedmen had to go up north in order to escape slavery. But that's not entirely true. We had freedmen who liberated themselves, who fled south. In south, I mean Florida, they fled all the way into Florida, into the swamps, and they were received by Native Americans known as the Seminoles. So you had freed slaves or escaped slaves / freed slaves who clicked up and joined hand in hand with Seminoles. And the Seminole Indians began to receive these freedmen, and they began to become powerful. Now, at this time, the United States was fighting against Spain for the territory of Florida. Florida used to belong to Spain. Okay. Florida used to be a Spanish colony, but Spain couldn't maintain it anymore. So what they did was they left all of their weapons and gave them to the hands of the Black freedom fighters known as the Seminole Wars, right? The Seminole, right? They became a group of fighters, and they began to arm themselves. And then the United States government found out about it, and they began to wage war here in the South. So the United States Army, the same army that exists today, was fighting against our people, FBA Americans, foundational Black Americans, and foundational Black indigenous. These were known as the Seminole Wars, and they hide this in history. They began to come south to wage war against these freed slaves, and they lost every time. They would fight in the swamps, and these soldiers, these Black soldiers, were armed, and they had their own guns, their own ammunition, and their own strategies. So when the United States military began to come down into Florida to fight against them, they would lose repeatedly. And I'm talking like, and it was very costly. And this happened, I forget the length of years. I think it might have been 10 years or more. I can't remember exactly the length of the war, but they kept losing. And so this created a big division between the North and the South. So white Northerners and white Southerners began to fight one another because they kept losing these battles, and these battles were fought in the South, and they didn't really benefit the North. So millions of dollars at that time, which the dollar, is much less. Back then, a dollar would buy you way more than a dollar buys now. So you're talking about millions of dollars back in those times was being spent to wage war against this Black Seminole Alliance. And Southerners expected that Northern white people would sign up for the military to come and fight against these people here. And I think the Gullah Geechee people come out of this group of Seminole and Black Alliance. Okay, Toda for that. The Seminole Wars were a series of 3 conflicts in Florida spanning from 1817 to 1858. That's a long time. That's about 40 years. Okay. Can you send that to me? Oh, I hit the wrong button. Let me see. Can you text that to me? Send that to me, and I'm going to pull it up for everybody to see. Toda. I'm going to pull up the information so you can see. This is what really caused the Civil War. And this is what really created the division between the North and the South. I'm about to pull it up for everybody. And let me see if I can find here now. Okay, let me see. Seminole Wars. Okay. Can y'all see that, family? The Seminole Wars, also known as the Florida Wars. They didn't teach you that in school, did you? Did you hear about this in school back in the day? A little bit? Okay. The Seminole Wars, also known as the Florida Wars, were a series of 3 military conflicts between the United States and the Seminoles that took place in Florida between about 1816 and 1858. So that's about 40 years. Free slaves. Yes, free slaves joined with Seminole indigenous Americans, and they kicked the United States of America's tail. The Seminoles are a Native American nation which coalesced in northern Florida during the early 1700s, when the territory was still a Spanish colonial possession. Tensions grew between the Seminoles and American settlers in the newly independent United States in the early 1800s, mainly because enslaved people regularly fled from Georgia into Spanish Florida. So people who were our people, FBAs who were slaves, didn't always go up north to find freedom. Many of them were going south for freedom, but you would know that. Okay? Not in public schools, right? All right. I'm trying to see the comments as I get into this, so forgive me if I can't see everybody's comments. Yeah, I never learned about this in NYC schools. Yeah, that's where I learned in NYC. I didn't get none of that in school. Freedmen equals Moors as well. Thank you for that. I'm gonna, okay. Let me remove, okay. Let me tell you about the phrase Moor. Let me tell you about the phrase Moor. Many people may not know this, and this is very important because, again, this has to do with our FBA, original FBA identity. Man, this is going way longer than I thought it was going to be. But this is good. Let's look at the term Moors. What does Moors mean? I want to see in the comment. What does Moor mean? Sentinel 2343 put freedmen equals Moors. Okay, I'm seeing black. Oh, Sentinel says more of this made up crap. I guess you're a hater. But we're going to show you what it means today. You know, people don't want to know the truth, and we're going to show them the truth. We're showing you right here. I mean, we just pulled up about the Seminole Wars, and they're still going to hate anyway. Let me, yes, do we have any moderators? You know, kick that person out of here. Kick Sentinel out. Matter of fact, I can do it myself and nobody else does. Let me see. Yeah, I just blocked them. Thank you for letting me know, because I can't keep up with all the comments. I see some of them. So yeah, I just kicked him out. He's a troll. He's done. Okay. So I see black. You're welcome. No problem. They don't want to know what the truth is. Moors was converted black people to become Muslims. This is very good also. Okay. This is the origin of the word Moor. This is the true origin of the word Moor. The origin of the word Moor. The original definition of Moor is the Hebrew word for illuminated. And this is what white people stole to make Illuminati. It comes from the word or, which means light. Moors were black people, black Hebrews, who began to be conquered by Arabs, right? We're talking about not the West African slave trade, but the East African slave trade. Okay, this is the East African slave trade that forced black Hebrews to convert to Islam or die. Okay. So let's type this in. Let's go to Hebrew. This is why our language is so important and so amazing. All right. So we type the word or. Let me screenshot that. I'm going to share this with the family. Okay. If we look at this Hebrew word 2:15, or, okay, this is like where we hear the names of the angels like Oriel, that means the light of Elohim, okay? Or the light of God, or Uriah, the light of Yah. It comes from this word or, okay? Or means literally and metaphorically to shine, to set on fire, or to be lightened, okay? So when we say more, we're taking the same word, or, aleph, wow, resh, and we're putting the letter mem in front of it, and it becomes more. When we say more, it means a person who is enlightened. Illuminated. Okay, or shines. This is the root of more. This is what it means to be illuminated. The white man emulated, and this term more was really associated with the Hebrew priesthood. So priests in Israel, in this region, especially through the order of Melchizedek, I don't have enough room to write it. The priests were known as Moors, the enlightened ones. And the science, let's put, what was I getting ready to write? The white people, what was I writing? I got so many thoughts in my head. I was writing something here. Sorry, family. Well, I think I know what I'm saying. Whites were emulated, just like they emulate today. We say foundational Black Americans. Now they say heritage American. We, whatever music we create, whatever styles we create, whatever dances we create, they go ahead and emulate it and copy it. We talk about Black fatigue, and that meant how, Black people are tired of the racism of America. They emulated that phrase and then took Black fatigue and then they made it something different. They made it as a word against us, just like the Bible. The Bible is a book of our history and prophecy and science, and they took that and used it and took the Savior and made him white and made the chosen people white, all of that. This is the same thing. So whites emulated, and I got to put Arabs. Whites and Arabs emulated the ancient Hebrew priesthoods. Okay. Hebrew priests and scientists were known as Moors, which means illuminated, And it was based on the priesthood, and the Europeans who conquered took the sciences and devoted them to Satan. So certain hidden sciences and information and knowledge that was specific to the Levitical priesthood of Israelites, the Arabs began to learn of it when they conquered the Hebrews, but they didn't necessarily change it to necessarily Satan worship. They still believed in one God, though that one God was a false God. But by the time the Europeans conquered the Arabs, the Europeans got knowledge of this, and then they formed the Illuminati. And then they made a demonic priesthood. Also, the Masons, all of that comes out of this. The Rosicrucians, etc. They were emulating the priesthood, the Israelite priesthood. This is where alchemy comes from. Alchemy and these things are based off of Hebrew sciences that take out Yah from it and insert demons. Information that was dedicated and devoted to the worship of the Most High was taken and stripped of its spirituality and then replaced with Satan and fallen angels. Just like the word woke, yep, and awake, that's how it was. They take what is given and then they emulate it and take the spirit out of it. All right. El Shaddai, that means the Most High, the Almighty, right? So the Arabs took out information. If y'all enjoying this video, I want y'all to put a 7 in the chat or put a hallelujah. We're going to praise the Most High. This is our history, family. This is our history. These are things that I guess I wanted to talk about to some degree or another, but sometimes you just got to wait for people to be ready to hear certain things. And hallelujah. Yes. All praises to the Most High. Let's give Yah the glory. Hallelujah. Hit a thumbs up if you hadn't already. Hit a thumbs up and share the video. Share this video to our FBA brothers and sisters who may not know the Most High and who may not know the spiritual origins of our people. Okay. This is important information. All right. Many of our people refer to themselves as Moors, and they just think Moor means black, but Moor doesn't mean black. The Moors were black. Moor is a Hebrew word for illuminated one. Matter of fact, let me show y'all. Let me pull up a Hebrew dictionary if I can. If y'all didn't already know, the indigenous Americans here spoke Hebrew. When Christopher Columbus came here, he came with Hebrew translators. So that's important for y'all to know and understand that the indigenous here were Hebrews. Okay. Did you need something? You good? The indigenous were Hebrews, and they spoke Hebrew, and Columbus came here with Hebrew interpreters. So that is the origin. Okay. Let's type. Okay. This is how we say more. Oh, did it freeze? Did it freeze, family? Did the screen freeze up? Okay, the iPad froze up. Give me a second, family. I gotta work this out. Bear with me a second, family. Give me a second, family. This thing froze up. I don't know what's going on. Maybe we're giving them too much information. It's still frozen, huh?
But we can't see it now.
It's off.
Yeah, it's still frozen. It's still the same.
It's still frozen. Bear with me for a second. Just hang on a second, family. I'm here. I'm trying to work this thing out. Boy. Okay, we're back. Good. I didn't want to have to come out of it. Okay. All right. There we go. Okay. All right. This is how we spell more. Okay. This one says my or, but there's a way where it's also more. Okay, from the word or. This is or right here. Let me just screenshot this and I'll bring it in. And again, share this with oh, hey, I need you to take this call. Casita. Take that for us.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to screenshot this, family. And I'm going to bring it in, okay?
Yes.
All right. So that y'all don't just have to take my word for all of this. Okay. All right. I'm going to take this red pen. Okay. This is how you say or. And Hebrew goes from right to left. So, okay. Now, or by itself means light. I'm going to put under it or. When you put this in front of here, you get more. And more means one who is illuminated with light. Okay. A celestial body, star, lighting, brightness, glow, all of that. Right. So share this information with those who call themselves more, who think more just means black. We want to take it to the Hebraic root of our people. Our people here are Hebrews. And then based off of this diaspora, they began to adapt other ways and other gods and other spirits that brought us away from the ethnic origins of our people, which is our Hebrew nature, and the Most High Yah, Yehovah, as our God, his son, Yehoshua, who the world calls Jesus. This is the root. That's why, for those who don't understand the importance of the Bible and the importance of us knowing the Bible in our own language, all of these things start to come back. Okay. If y'all with me, put a 7 in the chat and then we'll start proceeding. Okay. Let me see. I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page. Yes, these are the Israelites from 2nd Ezra 13 and 10. Here you go. You're going to have to keep that with you.
Okay.
Yes, these were the Native Americans. And these Native Americans spoke Hebrew when Columbus got here. It's in the record books. So we're not making this up. Okay, we got a lot of 7s here. Okay. Shalom Abed Yah. Brother Derek. We got all of the family on the same page here. Okay, good. So a whole lot of 7s here. So I want to move forward. Okay. All right. So that's what it means to be more. That's what it means. It means the illuminated one. So the Europeans, they conquered the Arabs. And of course, they conquered the true Hebrews at that time because of our disobedience to the Most High. They created what's known as the Illuminati. It was based off of the Israelite priesthood. And our priesthood has the Most High as the foundation and the center of worship. And it has his son, who the world calls Jesus Christ, who is Yehoshua HaMashiach. They replaced the worship of Yah with Satan and Lucifer, the devil. And they created a corrupt priesthood that now has undermined the whole world. Whereas the true understanding of the Most High was supposed to lead the world, because we failed at our job by not remaining 100% faithful to that. It allowed the enemy to come in and use the Roman Empire to spread and promote Satanism disguised as Christianity or Bible worship. Okay. All right. So now let's get into it. I think we were talking about them Seminole Wars, right? All right. So the Seminole Wars, also known as the Florida Wars, were a series of 3 military conflicts between the United States and the Seminoles that took place in Florida between about 1816 and 1858. The Seminoles are a Native American nation which coalesced in northern Florida during the early 1700s when the territory was still a Spanish colonial. Oh, goodness. What did I do? I hit the wrong button. Okay. When the territory was still a Spanish colonial possession. I want to say thank you, Hazel Hill, for this super chat. Appreciate you. Pray that this information blesses you. Okay. Tensions grew. Yeah. So Spain was still Florida was still under Spanish colonial possession at that time. Tensions grew between the Seminoles and American settlers in the newly independent United States of America in the early 1800s, mainly because enslaved people regularly fled from Georgia into Spanish Florida. I want to say thank you, D.C. Bricey. D. Bricey, thank you. Feeling blessed for this teaching in the middle of the day. Thank you. And thank you. I appreciate you. Hallelujah. All right. Mainly because enslaved people regularly fled from Georgia into Spanish Florida, prompting slave owners to conduct slave raids across the border. So Black people started to escape into Florida that was still a colony of Spain. And the Spanish military began to arm Black freedmen. The United States military army started to find out. They started to send troops down into Florida to recapture these freedmen. But the freedmen kept whipping their behind. I mean, battle after battle after battle. There was 3 wars. And for all of these wars, foundational Black Americans beat the United States military severely. I'm talking about they had severe losses, prompting slave owners to conduct slave raids across the border. What began as a small cross-border skirmish became the first seminal war as Andrew Jackson, y'all know who Andrew Jackson is, right? Led the U.S. forces into Florida. So the United States military came into Florida despite Spanish objections to pursue the Seminoles. They saying Seminoles, but the Seminoles, they didn't want to give Black people credit that Black people, freedmen, could beat the United States military. So they just referred to them all as Seminoles to not give credit to the fact that these were foundational Black Americans that was whipping the United States Army. FBAs were beating the United States military with weapons that was left here by the Spanish. They didn't want to give us credit, so they called it just Seminole Wars. They rather give recognition to Seminole than to freedmen. Okay. Jackson's forces destroyed several Seminole, Miccosukee, and Black Seminole towns, as well as captured Fort San Marcos and briefly occupied Pensacola before withdrawing in 1818. Did they withdraw or did they get beat? You see the way they frame this. It wasn't a withdrawing, they got whipped. They're not going to withdraw. They got beat. They got their behinds kicked. They got ran out of there. Okay. So because the United States kept losing against these freedmen, and it was costing them millions of dollars, it was an expensive war campaign. Those white Southerners here and slave owners were telling white people in the North that they have to keep sending their young men to fight and die in these battles because this is a battle of the entire United States government. But those who were from the North was like, nah, we're not going down there to fight. This only affects and impacts the South. Those aren't our slaves that have escaped all the way down to Florida. Those are your slaves. You need to foot that bill. You need to pay for that. You need to stop making the whole United States military have to finance these wars that we keep losing because they're very expensive and they only benefit the South. If we even beat these freedmen, those slaves are only going to be returned to Southern states. So it's not even cost effective for us here in the North to keep having to fight these battles that you keep losing anyway. So this is what created the tension between the North and the South. This is the reason for the war. It was creating a financial strain and it was creating tension between Northern and Southern whites because Northern whites didn't feel they should have to keep fighting and dying in these wars that didn't directly impact them. And Southerners was like, oh, yes, you should. You have to fight in these wars because this is the United States government fighting this. So the government represents the entire nation, not just the South. Those from the North have to be drafted and fight in these wars as well. And that's what created the animosity between the North and the South. And that's what started to lead to the Civil War. It was because they kept losing in Florida. In northern Florida, they kept losing. And they didn't want to give credit to foundational Black Americans, and they didn't want to give credit to the freedmen. They didn't want to give credit to the indigenous, so they just called it the Seminole Wars to disguise and hide the fact that freed Black slaves were beating the whole United States military. And you're talking about they had millions of dollars to spend. These freedmen didn't have millions of dollars to spend. All they had was the weapons that were handed down to them from the Spanish, because Florida was a Spanish colony, and the Spanish colony of Florida couldn't beat the whole United States military, so they had to abandon Florida. So as a parting gift, if you will, to get at the United States government, they left their weapons for the freedmen and the Seminoles to fight back with. That's why, to this very day, these same people fear us honoring the amendments with our right to defend ourselves, the right to bear arms. They don't want us to have that right. And they over police us when they find out that they are Black gun owners. And when a black man or woman defends himself with arms, they really try to prosecute the stand your ground laws. They're really not meant to protect our people or apply to our people. They really have created those to apply to their own people. And this is why they are afraid of us arming ourselves and being able to defend ourselves. This was known as the Seminole Wars. In 1819, the U.S. and Spain agreed to transfer Florida in the Adams-Onis Treaty. In return, the United States renounced its claim to Texas and fixed the boundary at the Sabine River. The United States gained possession of Florida in 1821 and coerced the Seminoles into leaving their lands in the Florida Panhandle for a large Indian reservation on the center of the peninsula per the Treaty of Moultrie Creek. In 1832, the Treaty of Payne's Landing, however, the federal government under United States President Andrew Jackson demanded that they leave Florida altogether and relocate to Indian Territory, modern-day Oklahoma, as per the Indian Removal Act of 1830. Those who refused to move resisted violently, leading the Second Seminole War from 1835 to 1842, which was by far the longest and most wide-ranging of the three conflicts. Initially, less than 2,000 Seminole warriors employed hit-and-run guerrilla warfare tactics and knowledge of the land to evade and frustrate a combined U.S. Army, and this is the Army and Marines, force that grew to over 30,000. So you had 30,000 United States soldiers, 30,000 Army and Marine fighting against 2,000 freedmen and Seminole warriors. They don't want to admit or acknowledge this, so they just call it the Seminole Wars. But these were freedmen. These were foundational Black Americans, and they lost. Instead of continuing to pursue these small bands, American commanders eventually changed their strategy. That means they lost, and focused on seeking out and destroying hidden Seminole villages and crops, putting increasing pressure on resistors to surrender or starve with their families. You know, so this is the root of this is what led to the Civil War. Okay. So we need to know and understand our history. I'll finish this out as just one more paragraph. By 1842, 3,612 Seminoles had relocated to the Indian Territory. A minority of about 350 to 500 remained in Florida, where they were allowed to remain in an uneasy truce. If they had to make a truce, that means they could beat them. So this is how the slave master tells the story. But those who know the truth know they lost. Tensions over the new settlement in the state under the Armed Occupation Act of 1842 south of Tampa led to renewed hostilities, and the Third Seminole War broke out in 1855. By the cessation of active fighting in 1858, the few remaining bands of Seminoles in Florida had fled deep into the Everglades to the land unwanted by American settlers. Together, taking the Seminole Wars were the longest, most expensive, most expensive and most deadly of all American Indian wars. The expense and the loss of life is what led to the Civil War, the North against the South, because the United States spent and lost millions of dollars back in the 1800s, which is like billions and billions, maybe hundreds of billions of dollars, and then the loss of many lives of white Northerners and Southerners because they died fighting against 2 or 3 thousand freedmen and Seminoles. This is what led to them fighting one another. So all we need to do today is delineate. And we're going to see that this thing collapses on its own. A lot of times when we get caught up in politics and non-spiritual things, it's because we actually still think and hope that we can get a piece of the pie that America has. America's never going to give this to us. They're only going to prop up celebrities, and they are the exception of the rule, but it makes you feel like all of us are capable of achieving high levels of wealth, influence, status, and so on. But it's set up by default for us not to be able to benefit from these things. So they're going to use the celebrity, the hand-picked celebrity that they select, not those of the grassroots, not those who we know, and those who answer to the Most High and answer to their people. They want to put people into position who answers to white supremacy. That's why none of these celebrities, you notice none of the celebrities are really saying anything about FBA. They just remaining quiet because they're waiting to see what their handlers tell them to do. And right now their handlers is telling them not to do anything or to dismiss or to, discourage our people from acknowledging our ethnic roots as FBAs. So this is what we need to know and understand in 2026, that we are the illuminated ones. We have the light. This is what it means when Yehoshua, who the world calls Jesus, says, you are the light of the world. We are the Moors. We are the illuminated ones. We are the light of the world. And he is the greater light. Our Yehoshua, who the world calls Jesus, is the greater light, but we are the illuminated ones on the earth. Okay? So in order for this to collapse, we have to simply delineate and separate from this system. And then you're going to see the spiritual authority and the moral authority of the Most High work in our favor, because we need divine spiritual power to overcome everything that has been working against us here in the United States. And that divine spiritual power, he put a measure of it within us. But we're going to need help from heaven above, as our ancestors that we read about, who overcame great odds, like King David, like Abraham, like Joshua. These great warriors overcame mighty armies with little to no resources because they had the spiritual authority of the Most High on their side. And that same thing is going to come around in this age. So we need to prepare ourselves for this, because the Most High is making a separation between the sheep and the goat. Today, they just call it delineation. I hope this is edifying and informative to you. And remember, I'll just close with this one scripture because it's important. I'm going to go to the book of James. James chapter 4. I'm going to start at verse 3. Ye ask and receive not, because ye ask amiss, that ye may consume it upon your lusts. Meaning, we pray for things. We want freedom. We want equality. We ask for these things, but we don't receive it because we have to do it the way the Most High tells us to. So if we ask and we don't receive, then we want freedom, we want deliverance from this oppression. Why don't we receive it? Because we're asking the wrong way. We're not doing what's required. But now that delineation is here, that's the first step in doing what the Most High requires. He requires separation from the heathen. Verse 4, ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not, let me highlight that, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with Elohim, is enmity with God. So friendship of the world is celebrity status. Friendship of the world is enmity with God or with Elohim. That means you become an enemy of God because the celebrity will never speak up for the things of Yah. Even the pastors of the churches are set up by the enemy. They're celebrity pastors, the Jamal Bryant. That's why he has his wife out here as a thought, because that's meant to be the standard for our sisters to look up to. They're trying to corrupt the morality of our women by propping up this spirit of Jezebel within the church, showing her nakedness and everything that's for her husband to see behind closed doors. They want to make this the public spectacle so that this becomes acceptable in the house of God. We already know how off the Christian churches already is, but now they're trying to promote more in there to keep our people asleep. Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with Elohim? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world, or whosoever therefore will be a celebrity, is the enemy of God. Jerry Carroll, I want to say thank you so much for the support. I loathe this world and its ways. Just another woman. Shalom to the sisters in the chat. Good to see you. That dress, Yah's precious jewel. Yep. Y'all know that dress. I didn't even get a chance to get into all that, but you know, this is what's going on, and this is why these things are being promoted at such a time like this. So, you know, Most High bless you all. Love you, brothers and sisters. Share this video, like the video, and leave your comments in the chat below. And the Most High bless you. We'll see you next time. Shalom.
This restored Hebrew KJV contains Old and New Testaments in black and white with original names and divine revelations. The His Word Silver Edition, 96 books in black and white. Ancient Hebrew truths revealed, commemorating 400 years. The His Word Gold Edition, best-selling Hebrew Bible, 96 books, vivid photos, commemorating 400 years. The His Word Paleo Hebrew Edition has the ancient names in Paleo script, vivid photos, and the Hebrew Paleo alphabet charts. Don't delay. Add to your collection today. HebrewIsraeliteScriptures.com.
We just pray on behalf of our people, Yisrael, O Most High, that you have caused us to stand in these last days. Give us strength, O Yehovah. Pour the Ruach HaKodesh upon us, O Yah. Pour out the latter rain, O Most High. Show mercy unto us. Deliver us, O Yehovah. Open the gates of heaven unto our prayer. Yehovah will receive our prayer. O